That way I've enlisted Dr. Fellow's assistance in processing the comment cards. Comment cards are being collected at the board secretary's desk, and I think the cadet is noting the time of receipt of the card. They're being turned over to Dr. Fellow, who will help me make sure that I don't misplace or misorder any of the cards. And so we're going to go to public comment on non-agenda items. Our public comment is governed by the rules we set forth in the that are published here on the agenda. It said members of public are welcome to address the board, to offer a comment on a matter that is not on the agenda, submit a comment request card by the start of the meeting. To offer a comment on today's agenda, submit a comment request card before the item is called. Comment requests will not be accepted after these times. Individual speakers are limited to 5 minutes. Total public comment on the agenda is limited to 30 minutes. And if there's anybody that has, this was modified. We will do it as our traditional practices, submitting a comment by the beginning of deliberation on that specific item. Trustee Fellow, would you help me call on the individuals who submitted cards?
The first speaker today is Eduardo A. Cairo, and on deck is Justin Handy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to inform you of the atrocious behavior of the Pasadena City College Police Department and its Chief of Police, Sam Pettis. At the last board meeting, after coming to an oral agreement with the Chief of Police to allow one person in the meeting and one person left, the police suddenly decided to stop allowing anyone despite our agreement. In the ensuing chaos, I was hit by a cadet and a police officer. After this, Sam Pettis came out and informed everyone that no one would be allowed into the room, despite the fact that there was space in an oral agreement. I demanded to be let in, but he refused. I then told him that I wanted to file charges against the two individuals, and he responded that he would send somebody out to take my statement. After more than 30 minutes without anyone coming out to take my statement, I called up Pasadena City Police to file charges, but was told by the dispatcher that she would send a police officer to me. After another 30 minutes, I found the officer, gave him my statement, and informed me that this matter was not within the Pasadena City Police jurisdiction, but would find someone from the college. Eventually, Sergeant Machen, I believe, came out and he took my statement in what appeared to be a 3x5 card. Sergeant Machen called me the next day, asked me to come in so he could ask me a few more questions about my complaint. But due to my neck and back pain that I suffered as a result of the attack on my body, I told him that I could not make that meeting, but would next week. On Tuesday, September 4th, yesterday, both he and Officer Bettis asked me to go in to finish my statement. When I spoke to Officer Bettis, I told him that I would be in class until about 5:35 p.m. He informed me that he had been very patient and did not wish to embarrass me in front of my class. I then asked him how long it would take, and he said that roughly 30 minutes, and I told him that I would inform my 2:35 class that I would be late because I had to go speak to Officer Bettis. Once there, I was taken to either room B210 or B201, I don't quite remember, where Officer Bettis, Sergeant Machen, and I sat. Officer Pettis proceeded to ask me to give him my statement about what happened that evening, and I told him that I already did and he should read it. The environment quickly became hostile, with Officer Pettis repeatedly asking me to provide a statement to get to the truth of the matter, insinuating that I was lying. And I kept telling him that I already did and he should read my statement. Eventually, I realized that I was not there to complete my complaint, but to provide information for an investigation against me. I then asked to leave and was denied. I asked if I could use my phone to call my attorney, and he stated that since I was not under arrest, that I was not entitled to a lawyer. I asked him what would happen if I refused to answer, and he stated that there would be consequences, but did not elaborate once again, allowing for the perception of imminent arrest. After approximately 45 minutes, I was allowed to leave, but once again with the understanding that if it was necessary to ask me more questions, that I needed to cooperate, or there could be consequences. I am, of course, shortening the entire process. It is deplorable that this college would allow this type of behavior against its faculty to occur. Whether or not my civil rights were violated is a matter for the courts, but to allow a representative of the social sciences for the academic senate, a part of the now defunct enrollment management committee, a member of the faculty association negotiating team, a tenured faculty, as well as a veteran having honorably served in the United States Marine Corps, to be detained in this fashion is absolutely atrocious. This is not Guantanamo, nor is it the 1960s where authorities did not respect the rights of African Americans and Mexican Americans. Those days are over, and for the Board of Trustees and the President of this college and any other member of this administration to allow the Chief of Police or his department to continue to use his badge to treat anyone on this campus in this manner is shameful. Given his participation in this type of behavior towards myself, a tenured faculty member, I shudder to think how he and his department treat our students in that same room without any kind of representation, witnesses, and perhaps rights. To this date, I still am not aware if my complaint has been processed or even investigated. Finally, I ask the board and the administration for two specific items. One is to look into the disgraceful behavior of this department and the Chief of Police. And second, to disseminate information to our students, staff, and faculty as to what rights they have on this campus, what rights they do not have, and what campus police can and cannot do to us on this campus. Or perhaps the school newspaper could undertake this task. Perhaps it can use these incidents as a learning tool. And I believe that by educating everyone on campus of their rights, this would eliminate or at least diminish any type of intimidation, lawsuits, or injuries to anyone on this campus. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Dustin Hanby.
Good evening to all of you on the board. I nervously take the extraordinary step of requesting to speak to you tonight in public comment because I feel the need to speak to you and the public in the role of Dr. Dustin Hanby, professor of English and father of three, and not as Senate President. This speech is one long in the making. I love Pasadena City College. I came to this college very eagerly 8 years ago after a decade of experience at the University of California and Los Angeles Community College District. 3 days after my eldest daughter Mira was born, I came to campus, hospital tag still on my arm because I was so eager to work at PCC, well known for its exemplary students and commitment to learning. I have not regretted my decision since. I have been fortunate to meet some of the most inspiring students in my almost 2-decade career, students who remind me of the joys of learning, of achieving, of overcoming obstacles, and of receiving a second chance in life. I have been fortunate to meet some of the most innovative faculty, too many to mention, who continually remind me that the learning process never ends. I have been fortunate to work with a division of faculty and a dean and Amy Ulmer who pushed me to improve and better serve my students. I have been fortunate to work with academic Senate colleagues who have reminded me that we are part of a larger system of shared governance that is meant to improve and move this institution to a stronger, more vibrant, even model community college. However, over the last few years, I have noticed some troubling signs that concern me deeply. During the campaign for Senate office last spring, I was fortunate to meet and talk with many faculty across campus. In the course of those conversations, I was shocked by the number of people who told me that they are afraid to speak up for fear of being ridiculed or ashamed for expressing their views. Many have come to doubt that the shared governance process is working at PCC or can work at PCC, so they have become disengaged and dispirited. In that process, valuable voices that could offer ideas to improve the college are silenced. As a believer in civil liberty in the mode of John Stuart Mill, I strongly believe in the right of everyone to be able to speak freely and in the importance of mutual respect, even in the face of serious disagreement. I have heard reports that some faculty are considering leaving this college or have already left because of this climate. In saying these things, I am not pointing fingers or assigning blame. We are all responsible for the state of affairs, and we all bear responsibility for ending it. As the father of 2 public school girls and the son and grandson of public school teachers, I passionately believe in the importance of As the father of 2 public school girls and the son and grandson of public school teachers, I passionately believe in the importance to any democratic society of the Jeffersonian model of public supported education. That belief is why I teach at PCC and why I try to become involved in the bodies that are working to improve this college. We all owe the public and our colleagues a climate of civility and true shared governance, a climate where people do not live in fear of saying the wrong thing that may upset the wrong person. I feel the need to speak for those silent people, and this speech is my attempt to give their concerns a voice. We will disagree, Healthy disagreement leads to growth as a society and campus. I'd like to commend Student President Simon Frazier for his measured call last week for a calm and respectful approach to these difficult issues, and would like to second his call. We must pledge to do so in a way that understands that people have a right to their views, and that people do not have a right to be belittled for taking positions that we may find disagreeable. As Senate President, I personally commit to fostering this climate of civility and hope all on campus, faculty, managers, classified, and students will do the same. Thank you.
First, I'd like to thank Robinson Park and Trustee Brown for hosting us, and I'd like to especially thank Trustee Brown for being the only trustee member who has the courage to speak up and vote against President Roach's trimester system and in favor of student success. And I'm not going to get up here and talk about how important winter semester is, because you've shown throughout my entire career at PCC, and especially last week, that you don't care about student voices, so I'm not going to waste mine tonight. But I'd like to take this moment to officially announce my recall campaign against President Jeffrey Baum of the Board of Trustees. If anyone would like to sign my recall statement of intent, I will be around for the rest of the meeting. If anyone has any questions about initiating a recall in their own district, I will be around for the rest of the meeting. Thank you.
Kristen Orkoff.
Hi, my name is Kirsten Orchard, and I've been looking into whether the Metro pass that you guys require is legal or not, and I don't believe it is. I believe it's breaking the law, because the Americans with Disabilities Act states that public utilities may not provide services or benefits to individuals while excluding people with disabilities from programs that are only for like full-time students or whatever. People with disabilities cannot take, most of them cannot have full-time status because they cannot take 12 units. So you are simply excluding the disabled, the majority of them, because of that. And I believe that that is breaking the law. So I hope that you reconsider and let the disabled student population be part of the Metro program. Thank you.
We have no further comments on non-agenda items.